Hey, what's up, Year 4? This is Mr. Sheffield. We are going to go through week 6 of Numeracy. Hope you all have a fantastic half term. Before I begin, there are two people this week I want to single out. It's so difficult to choose. But from Hudson class, Maya, you have been consistently working really hard. You've been submitting lots of work. So Miss Stein and Miss Kaminska are super pleased with that. From Rio Grande, I find it so difficult, but there's one person in particular who I'd like to single out, and it's Karis, who has consistently gone above and beyond. So when I've given her some feedback on her work, she has taken that feedback and gone, you know what, I'm actually going to do that piece of work now. And in her own time, she's gone and done something that I didn't expect her to. I just sort of suggested, oh, maybe you should do this next. And she's gone and done it. And she's furthered her learning there. So fantastic work, Karis. Now, this week, it's all about fractions. We're going to be adding fractions, taking away fractions, finding fractions of quantities. Now, the first 2 days, the adding and subtracting fractions are actually going to be probably quite simple. So here, we've got 1/5 and 2/5. Think of it like oranges. So I always say, if you look at the denominator and it's the same, you can treat it like a fruit. So 1 orange plus 2 orange is 3 oranges. So, we've got 1/5 plus 2/5 is 3/5. Now, obviously, if the denominators are slightly different, then you can't add those together. You're going to have to do something else to them first. I don't think this week you're going to come across any of those problems, though. Whereas in school, I probably would be giving you those kind of things to work on. Anyway, so adding fractions, treat it like you're adding pieces of fruit together. 3/8 plus 1/8. You've got 3/11 plus 3/11 plus 8/11. Treat it like you've got 3 apples plus 3 apples plus 8 apples, okay? Just think about adding those numbers together as if the denominators weren't there, okay, at first. Some of them, though, so these ones, you might come across some improper fractions, some top-heavy fractions. So those fractions where the numerator, the number on top that tells us how many parts we're looking at, is bigger than the denominator, which is how many pieces it's divided into, how many equal parts it's divided into. How can I forget that magic word equal? Anyway, first day should be nice and simple. You've got some additions to do. Here, you've got a couple of different choices for what that addition could be. And here you've got some missing number problems. So it's going to require you to do a little bit of thinking around the problem. But in general, first day, adding fractions should be okay. Second day, subtracting fractions, exactly the same. Treat them like pieces of fruit. 4 bananas, take away 1 banana is 3 bananas. So 4/5 take away 1/5 is 3/5. Okay, so again, if the denominator is the same, you can solve these problems without much issue. Okay, you've got some part-whole models to think about, but by now you should be used to those. Now this is where fractions of quantities comes in. So this is where last year in year 3 we would have been drawing diagrams. We would have drawn a bar like this, for example. We would have divided it into 4 equal parts because the denominator means how many equal parts it's divided into. So we've divided our bar into 4 equal parts. And if you'd like to, you can think, well, 1/4 of 20. Well, if I'm dividing my 20 by 4 equal parts, 20 divided by 4 is 5. Or what you could do, if you're still a bit unsure about fractions of quantities, you can draw your bar, divide it into 4 equal parts, colour however many the numerator tells you to colour in, because down here you are going to get some numerators which are not 1. Once you colored that, once you've got your diagram, you could do 20 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then you can count how many dots are in the shaded areas. Okay, so that's a little bit sort of year 3 method, but if that's the way that works for you, by all means, do that one. Okay, so same as this one, 1/8 of 40. We've got a bar that's been divided into 8 equal parts because the denominator here, there we go, just zoom in right in that denominator, that one It's how many equal parts it's divided into. And they've only coloured in one of the boxes because the numerator means how many parts we're looking at. Now, again, let's put this right in the middle here so you can see. I've got my box, I've divided it into 8 equal parts, I've coloured one of them in, and if you want to do the calculation in your head, you could do, well, how many 8s are there in 40? Oh, there's 5. But what you could also do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way until you've got 40 dots in there, just to double check your answer. If you are going to do the multiplication, the division method, please make sure when you get to these ones down here, so 5/8, for example, well, 1/8 is 5. Don't forget to then multiply that by how many eighths you're looking at. Okay, so if 1/8 of 1/8 of 40 is 5, then 5/8 of 40 would be 5 lots of 5. You'd have a 5 here, a 5 here, a 5 here, a 5 here, a 5 here. So you'd have 25 in total. Okay, so the unit fractions, the ones where the numerator is 1, you shouldn't find too much of an issue. But the non-unit fractions, especially this one here, is super tricky. That was a question I gave probably in last time we did fractions in school about finding improper fractions of numbers. You might have to, as a bit of a clue, draw 2 bars and divide them into 8 equal parts. That's just a little bit of a clue, okay? Again, you've got some greater than, less than, matching the numbers. So the rest of it should be okay, but just take real good care when you're calculating those fractions of numbers to draw diagrams if you need to help. By all means, draw the diagrams. They will help you out massively. And the last day is kind of like a, here's the practice of how do we find fractions of numbers. The last day is kind of putting that into some context. So instead of finding fractions of numbers, you've been given some missing number problems. So it's 1/4 of something is 5. So here, okay, I was thinking, how does that match up? But of course it doesn't, because look, 1/4 of something, well, how many equal parts is this divided into? Is it divided into 4 equal parts? No, it's not. So this one can't match with this one. Is this one divided into 4 equal parts? No, it's not. So that has to match with that one. Can't match with that one either. A little bit of thinking on this last day, but in general, it's the same as day 3, but slightly the other way around. Okay, so instead of finding 1/4 of 20 is something, you will be finding 1/4 of something is 5. For example, 5, 5, 5, 5. Oh, there you go. As always, draw the diagrams to help you out. That will really, if you're not sure, draw a picture of all the information you've got right now, draw the bar, divide it into this many equal parts, color it in with this many parts, and then draw those dots in if you need to, okay? Just a very quick message to say I am super proud of so many of you. All of you have been, regardless of whether or not you've been handing this work in, I am super proud of all of you. Please keep it up, and I hope to see you soon. Stay safe. Bye-bye.